Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today I wanted to talk a little bit more about legendary missions and provide a few, tips, some helpful, I would say, strategies that I use when I play. And by the way, I run a lot of the legendary missions with just match-made groups. So it's kind of interesting to see how other people play without just saying anything. Requires a lot of knowledge, requires a lot of experience in the mode. And so what I'll do with this series is I'll probably pick a legendary mission and we'll talk about a few areas where I believe that you as an agent and you as your team do have the advantage. And I think in legendary missions, you have a lot of advantages, but there is one that is quite, I would say, more critical than the others. It's the primary advantage that you and your team holds. And that advantage is enemy positioning. In terms of, where enemies are and where enemies spawn from. Now, the mission structures in the division allow for you to be able to learn this and allow for you to be able to understand this regardless of, the repetition that you actually bring. And that's because you have other random things to worry about, like your random gear that's going to drop at the end, or even the fact that the enemy AI, especially in Legendary, will have slightly similar, slightly different behaviors once combat starts. They adapt differently from, say, your other enemy NPCs. They behave in a stranger way. So all of those things are random enough, and they already hit hard and they're hard to hit. So when you factor these things together, it makes a whole lot of sense that you have a primary advantage that you can leverage against them. Now, we're going to do some scrubbing, okay? We're going to do some scrubbing through this legendary mission, and I'll explain to you why I think this is very important. So when we run into this arena in the final encounter where you get into the big arena itself and you're about to start taking on enemy NPCs, there are a few things that you have to notice. You're going to find enemy NPCs that are patrolling the area. They're already on alert the moment you walk in. So the way that the mission structure is designed from a game design perspective is once the encounter starts, enemy NPCs are already in an alert phase. So if you notice, they're already pacing around and moving. So first of all, as a status effect player, what I do is I light up the very first enemy that I can find. Okay, now the reason I'm lighting him up is not just to burn him down. I want to spread that damage, but this fool over here on the right side of him by the container sees me and launches a grenade at me. I see the grenade coming. I try to dodge, but no, it's too late. I see the grenade coming. Ooh, I try to dodge for it. There it is. Whoop, I missed it. And then I tried to dodge the second one, and the AoE is just too much. This is why legendary NPCs are kind of annoying, because that second grenade did not hit me, but its area of effect is just overpowered. But hey, comes to the territory. I'll get to catch him later and basically nuke him, so I'm not worried anymore because I was a little salty about this. But I guess you kind of get the idea. And so once you start the encounter, they're all over the place. And so what does that tell you? That tells you that whenever you're about to get into the encounter, you want to try your possible best to take out as many of them as you possibly can. Now, let's do it. That's the enemy NPC right there. Yeah, we finally got him. What an idiot, the Grenadier. Let me take you into this other room, and I'll show you pretty much that concept that I'm telling you about being fleshed out. In this room, you take care of these 4 Warhounds, right? The mechanical Warhound droids. And, after taking them out, the next spawn point. So this is the advantage, like I said, that you have, which is enemy positioning. We know that once we take out this final Warhound, enemy NPCs are going to spawn from there. Now, ideally, I run status effect builds. And so what I usually do is I'll throw my, I'll throw down my Stinger Hive, and then I'll also throw down my some of the cloud from the fire starter so that I can start melting them the moment that they come out of that door. Today on the group, while playing, we were fortunate enough to have somebody that had the chem launcher, the mortar. So they used it instantly. I already had, somebody else also had the chem launcher as well with the fire starter. And somebody dropped the mortar, and we just basically pinned them all down there and just nuked them out of orbit. I mean, literally cleaned that area. And then again, using that same advantage, I knew, and everybody knows this that plays Legendary very frequently, that on the other door, the one that I just turned to just now, I knew that there was going to be another spawn, of a heavy and I think another enemy NPC that comes out of the other door on the right side facing you. So if you notice, my stinger is already there and I'm already dealing damage while we try to clear that door. That door was cleaned instantly. I mean, they didn't even make it. So these are some of the advantages that you do have when you're actually placing yourself and getting yourself ready for an encounter. You can use your skills, or, if you're using a gun build, you know where to point your weapon and you know where your weapon is going to be shooting. And you're going to use this throughout all of your legendary missions. In this case, I'm using District Union as an example, and I'm using some of the arenas where, agents get to die a lot to kind of show this as well. Now let's go to another arena. I think this is kind of one of the more difficult arenas. At first, this arena did not used to be too difficult, which is the underground garage, the long encounter that you actually have in there. But over time, it seemed like they tweaked the AI a little bit to find different interesting ways around the pillars to corner you. So what I've done so far is I've studied the way this works. I don't know if they're going to go change it once I reveal some of this stuff in this video, but hey, it is what it is. If they change it, we adapt, we win again. So once you guys come out of the garage, right? Once you come out of this door, I recommend that there is somebody who does have a turret that can actually position it in one very weird spot. And I'm going to hit these folk with a puff of cloud or whatever, but you see me making my way to the left side, and I'm going to place my turret on top of this bin. You can place it anywhere in that area. Just make sure you have the high ground, and that turret is going to do a lot of work for you. Now, here's the reason why. On that side, you don't have a lot of cover. You do have a lot of exposure on your right side. So you really do need to put that turret on that side so that turret is working the enemy NPCs, because if inevitably you're going to get another spawn with, healers that come out of that door. So that turret is just going to sit there and just be chewing out anybody that goes to that corner, maybe driving them back to the center of the garage where you guys can pick them off as you're working through. If you have somebody that's sitting where my team member, Daddy Brown, is sitting, they have exposure. They have exposure to the right side, which is basically where I'm facing. And so what's going to happen is over the course of this encounter, Daddy Brown is going to go down twice. He's also trying to focus on that, that same place where I have my turret, but, it's something that you have to let the automated skills do a lot of the work there, and just try your best from distance to kind of, throw down the puff of smoke using the chem launchers and all. But what happens is over time, these enemy NPCs, they make their way to that corner because they're trying to find openings, and they take them out twice. In fact, that cover is just not sufficient enough, and, he's already down. I had to go ahead and kind of revive him because it looks like it's safe, but you don't have any safety in that corner. While I'm doing so, my turret is still just working enemy NPCs, and we have somebody that has a tank build. So thankfully, that person is keeping all the enemy NPCs on that side, occupied and busy. So the way you play this encounter is very important because it will really change the dynamics. And all you need is just one turret. You don't need too many, but if you get a bunch more, hey, perfect. What that's going to do is that's going to basically keep the enemy NPCs centered in the middle and to the right side, and you guys have a better line of sight to see their shenanigans before it comes your way. Now, I will finish this video pretty much with another encounter that's very, very lethal to the team. It's the encounter that's in this area, because you have two of them. You have the one where you first reach this room, and then you have another portion of the encounter where, you have to go into the other rooms and then into the hallways, and then they come blah, 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 blah. Yada, yada, yada. And then you go into this particular room over here. This one's straightforward because they have a long line of sight. I'm not going to explain much about this particular area, but this room I'm having to do some scrubbing over here on my recording software. Yes, this particular room over here. Now, this room is interesting because you don't have too much cover. You have grenadiers. So notice the way I place my turret is I go in the middle of the room, farther into the middle, and place it in that corner. Now, why would I risk even forgetting the enemy NPC that's actually here on this window and going in there to place that turret? Well, in that corner there, enemy placement and the way they've designed the AI is there is a healer there that will drop a healing station at any rate. So you have to find a way to keep that healer suppressed, busy, or even take them out as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. Because if I stayed if I stayed in cover over here in one of the tables, one of these other enemy NPCs hiding behind can actually come and get me. So I drop my turret there, I back away, and as I'm backing away, I use my my signature weapon because it does have stagger to it. That's the only reason I'm using it. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but it does have stagger, so I can actually back away. And if you notice, my turret is just basically chewing them out in that corner. Daddy Brown over here, who matchmade with us, he's a status effect player as well, and he's just, you know, throwing down status effects into that corner. He and I are just, you know, pouring a lot of the status effect damage into that corner to make sure that the enemy NPCs are uncomfortable so that we can take them out. You know, this is really cool. Oh, I almost forgot. Another really difficult one is this area here, but this one's also kind of straightforward. You know, a few things that you can do. You can have somebody use what's the name of the dummy thing, the dummy skill that throws down a skill that looks like you, and you guys can just run and make your way upstairs. Quickly make your way upstairs. They're going to target you very much, but you can drop one of those dummy things there. Is it a dummy thing? I don't even remember what the name of it is called. I hardly use that skill. But if you guys notice, as we're running up here, I drop my turret just right by the window on purpose, and then they're busy. Notice that busy, you know, activity keeps them, and it's actually chewing away their health. And I think that helped our Kung Fu grip guy on our group survive. So this is a little random too. This arena, you know, the enemy NPCs actually change up their tactics. So it's something that I'll say, try to make your way up here as safely as possible. Don't miss the stairs. I've missed the stairs before in many cases, and I'm just telling you, you're not going to survive it. But these are some of the strategies that we use using that one major advantage that you have in legendary missions. I'll try my best to actually use, you know, other legendary missions that I've played and footage and all that stuff to be able to, you know, describe some of the strategies that are used. I know for sure that Capitol Building is a lot more structured, but Roosevelt Island is just quite chaotic. If you were to ask me, it's very challenging to do something like that in, you know, in Roosevelt Island. But I'll try my best to kind of explain those as the time comes around. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know if you have questions in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk in another video. Peace out.